Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to BiblioTech On Air. I'm Rosanna.
I'm Ruby.
And I'm Israel.
And today we'll be talking about a movie. We wanted to change it up a little bit. You know, on here we talk about pop culture, books we might be reading, stuff going on at the libraries. So why not switch it up a bit? With that, we're going to be talking about the 2017 film Lady Bird. Lady Bird is available for free streaming on Kanopy with your BiblioTech library card. Remember, if you don't have a library card yet, register at bearbibliotech.org or by going into any one of our branches. Lady Bird, directed by Greta Gerwig, is a coming-of-age drama released in 2017. The film stars Saoirse Ronan as Christine Ladybird McPherson, a rebellious and artistically inclined high school senior who navigates the challenges of adolescence, family relationships, and self-identity in Sacramento, California. The film received critical acclaim for its authentic portrayal of teenage life and complex mother-daughter dynamic. It's a poignant exploration of growing up and finding one's place in the world. The film was nominated for 5 Oscars, including Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actress, Best Supporting Actress, and Best Original Screenplay.
Yeah, with that said, I'd like to get y'all's initial thoughts on the movie. What y'all think?
It's a good film.
Very good.
It's a good film.
Unfortunately, it was based off my life.
It's very relatable.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely very relatable. I love this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like I really love this movie. I love Greta Gerwig. There's various characters in this film as well, obviously. So we have Christine Ladybird, who's played by Saoirse Ronan, Marion McPherson, who's her mom, who's played by Laurie Metcalf, her father Larry McPherson, who's played by Tracy Letts, and then Daniel O'Neill, one of her boyfriends, her first boyfriend, is played by Lucas Hedges. And then Kyle Shabille, her second boyfriend, is played by none other than Timothée Chalamet.
And of course, BFF Julie, who's played by Beanie Feinstein.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty, well, with that being said, let's get right into the questions that we have.
Cool. So, how does Lady Bird's character evolve throughout the film, especially in relation to her dreams, aspirations, and the realities she faces? What key moments signify these changes?
I mean, she's a teenager, first of all, so she's not going to have character development all in one go.
Yeah.
It feels like she takes, like, maybe a step forward and then takes 2 steps back.
I feel like she doesn't really do any character development until the very end when she gets rid of her Lady Bird identity.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I was reading like a bunch of reviews on it to see what other people think, and then like some of the negative ones that I read were like, oh, I was so upset that she did that at the end, that she got rid of her, like when she's on the phone with her mom and when she introduces herself as Christine, not Lady Bird, as she does the whole movie. They were so upset, and they were like, but this is like her identity and she's getting rid of it, whatever. But I was like, in my mind, I was thinking like, no, I felt like she had to create that identity for herself because of the situation she's in. But now that she's escaped that situation, it's like she no longer needs that Lady Bird identity. She can associate, her real self with her real name, Christine.
Yeah, it's like she had to separate herself from her mom, from her family. And so she gave herself the name Lady Bird, which is fine. I feel like that's a very, not even teenage thing to do. But when you're trying to separate yourself from a situation, like you said, Ruby, one of the easiest things to do is to give yourself a nickname or a name that you feel empowered by. And she very much felt empowered by Lady Bird. So, for example, like when she was doing tryouts for the play, auditioning for the play, she presents herself very self-assuredly as Lady Bird. And I really like that part. But yeah, and that's another thing that I really like about her character. And we see her mature with her self-assuredness, with her confidence. She was very confident. She was a very confident woman. Very confident.
She knew what she wanted.
She knew what she wanted. Yeah. And I was not like that in high school, period. At all.
Period.
Yeah. And so, like, I would always, like, I'm not going to lie, like, I would always admire people like that in high school who could just say what they were thinking.
March to the beat of their own drum.
That was really cool. And also, I mean, I love Saoirse Ronan, so seeing her do that, it's like, wow.
You're like, yeah. So it's interesting because some other negative reviews I read, they hated her and were like, she's so privileged and so bratty and so whiny and things like that. And then but I was like, I related to that, unfortunately. Like, I was that when when I was her age, I was wanting to get far away from my home. Felt like I needed to do that for myself so I can create my own identity. And I completely related to her in that aspect.
It's kind of funny you say that, because at the, like, talking about like how she finally gets away from her family at the end, at that point, it's like you said, she created the Ladybird persona to be separated from her family. But when she was actually separated from her family, it was kind of like
a wake-up call.
Oh, like, did I really want to get away from these people? Or, like, kind of just, oh, I'm alone now.
Yeah,
definitely. Another point that I guess one of the reviews, that she's privileged that you were mentioning, I mean, and we'll get to this in one of the next questions, talking about her socioeconomic status. Like, compared to some of her counterparts and her friends, she's not well off.
Yeah.
Like, like, her family is struggling to pay bills, like, constantly. Her father got laid off. Her brother is looking for a job, move back in with his girlfriend. Her mom is just a nurse, right? Which is one of the most hardworking jobs that that there is. And I think it's good that we not bring up her poverty, but her situation in terms of her socioeconomic status, because it does influence her self-identity a lot.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't want to be seen as poor. She doesn't like to be seen as poor. That's why she asked her father to drop her off, a block away from the school so that people don't see. And so that's a very hard reality that she has to face, that she has to look for scholarships, that she has to look for money, that, she can't go to, like, I guess the best colleges that are available that she would like to, and to fulfill her dreams. And so there's those key moments when she's confronted with her socioeconomic status, but also situations in terms of, like, with her boyfriends, right? Danny and then Timothée Chalamet's character, those are very pivotal moments. I feel like when she catches her boyfriend Danny, who does end up coming out to her later on, she catches him, making out with a guy, where they break up, and then there's like this switch. There's a transition in the movie. I don't know if y'all noticed that. I mean, it could have been that it was from one school semester to the to the spring semester, but there's a there's a switch. And it was very apparent to me. I guess she starts being something that she isn't, right? She starts lying about where she lives. She starts hanging out with different friends. She casts off her best friend, Julie, and so she's doing all these things. And so that's a very pivotal moment, definitely, when breaking up with the first boyfriend and even getting with the second boyfriend as well. But with that being said, did you have anything more on the first question? No? Cool. Let's get right into the second one then.
The film intricately portrays the complex relationship between Ladybird and her mother. How do their interactions and conflicts contribute to the overall theme of growing up and gaining independence?
I didn't think the mom was a bad person. Like, I feel like in her mind, which is exactly the same mindset I had when I was younger, I thought my mom was my enemy, keeping me from doing whatever I wanted. Like, I grew up super strict. I wasn't allowed to hang out with friends outside of school, go to football games. I wasn't allowed to do a lot of things. So I had that exact same angst that Lady Bird had, to where she's looking at her mom as just like this bad person. But like, now that I'm older and like can just definitely not relate to the mom, but see the mom's point of view, where it's like, because my mom was the exact same. She was a nurse. So I was like, she was working hard, for the family. And then like that one scene too, where they were fighting in the living room, and then that Lady Bird is like, write down the number of like the amount of money that it took to raise me, so I can pay you all that back, and then you don't owe me anything. Because it seemed like the mom was like, well, I'm doing all this for you. I'm doing all this for you. And Lady Bird kind of has the point of view of like, I didn't ask for it. I didn't ask to be born, like you have to do it because you have to.
Right. As parenting, that's the bare minimum, like just making sure your kid has somewhere to live, making sure they have food, making sure they have love.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's no right way to parent. Like, the mom's just trying her best, with what she was given. So that's the way I looked at it.
And they're very strong-willed characters.
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely horrible ways to parent.
And then it's weird too, though, because Lady Bird like understands it at the back of her mind. Because when she was having that conversation with her first boyfriend, when her first boyfriend was like, oh, your mom's scary and this and that, and then Lady Bird's like, well, no, like she
has a big heart.
Yeah, she has a big heart. She's warm. And then he's like, how can she be warm and scary or whatever? And then Lady Bird's like, well, that's just how she is.
And I don't know if you noticed, but she says the same thing that her brother's girlfriend says to her. She's like, they're outside smoking a cigarette, and the girlfriend's saying like, hey, you should be easy on your mom. She has a big heart. She took me in when my parents kicked me out. And she says that same line to Danny. She has a big heart.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I loved the movie. It's literally, I could, like, down to the T, it was my life. I'm like, well, how does this even happen? Because my brother's girlfriend was living with us too when I was that age. And then she was like sharing how, like, which was like a big surprise. I'm like, how did my mom allow this to happen? Like, my brother's girlfriend living with us. But it just really shows a side to the mom character, like what she's willing to do for her kids, even though she, like, obviously Lady Bird's going to Catholic school, so I would assume the mom to be super religious as well. But, like, she has to put that aside to care for this other person.
Yeah.
Right. She's head of the family right now. Dad's without a job. They have extra mouths to feed. I get her trying to, keep control of the whole situation, but Lady Bird doesn't want to be controlled, and that's going to be a big source of conflict right there.
Yeah,
but with that said, I don't think like she doesn't hate her mom. She recognizes that. I mean, it's in that those moments of anger, but she doesn't hate her mom. She just, like she says in that little dressing room scene, like, I just want you to like me. I just want you to be supportive of me. And her mom's like, I'm not gonna lie to you, but you see her mom having that moment of understanding, like, oh, I should be more supportive.
Yeah.
Because I think as a teenager, that's all you want. You just want your parents to, approve and be happy and show that they love you. That's not going to happen all the time.
Yeah.
One of the pivotal moments for me is when Lady Bird graduates from high school, and they're at the restaurant, and Danny, her ex-boyfriend, drops the bomb, like, oh, you're on the waiting list for school in New York.
Unintentionally.
Yeah, unintentionally. And the dad's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And her mom is like, what the heck? And she's mad at her. She's mad at Lady Bird. She takes it very personally. She's like again, like, why did you lie to me? Why did you have to lie? I guess, like, that kind of mindset, which is understandable, but man, it hurt to see, like, the mom ignore Lady Bird.
Oh yeah,
period.
give her the silent treatment.
Period.
But also, it was one of those situations where Lady Bird, like, she kind of had to go behind her mom's back, because her mom would have never approved or never would have supported her in that. She had to go team up with her dad. Like, her and her dad went behind the mom's back to be like, okay, let's go apply for colleges. We can, move these finances around. You can, because I think Lady Bird, she worked like 2 jobs, right? Like the coffee shop and then
the market.
Yeah. So it's not like she wasn't doing it and just being like, well, they can pay for me, whatever. Like, at least she recognized, okay, I'll have to put some work into this. And that, the props to her for doing that. But I mean, the mom didn't really see that. She just saw it as like, oh, she's disrespecting me,
Another thing that allows us to understand Lady Bird's mom's character is that her mom says, like, my mom was an alcoholic and an addict, right? And I wish we were given a little bit more, on that, a little bit more. We're kind of left wondering, like, okay, well, why does she have such a strong reaction to being lied to by her daughter, right? Would her mom not share anything? Was her mom not present or anything like that?
Yeah, she said her mom was like an abusive alcoholic.
Yeah, there you go, abusive alcoholic, and so she's just hard love, I guess.
Yeah, I took that as like her saying that she was like, so I'm already better, I'm already a better parent than my mom was.
Yeah.
Because
sure.
Her mom probably wasn't like there, was very absent, and that's probably why she's so critical on Lady Bird and so hard on her, because she's like, I'm here, I'm gonna guide you, into what I believe should be your future, because I think this is the right way to do it or whatever. But yeah,
and you see little moments of that throughout the film, like after she leaves Kyle's house. She thought her brother was going to come pick her up, but it's her mom, and her mom, she starts crying in the car because she just, had a kind of a bad moment of realization that something that was supposed to be special with her boyfriend wasn't.
Yeah.
So she's crying and her mom's like, do you want to go do our favorite Sunday activity? And they're like doing open houses and stuff, and it's just so like so sweet because it's a quiet moment, but that's their moment, that's their thing.
And we will be back after these messages. If you're enjoying listening to this episode where we talk about Lady Bird, check out other A24 movies that are available on Kanopy right now, such as Everything Everywhere All at Once, where an interdimensional rupture unravels reality. An unlikely hero must channel her newfound powers to fight bizarre and bewildering dangers from the multiverse as the fate of the world hangs in the balance. Check it out for free with your library card today. And now we're back.
Alrighty, well, the next question I'm pretty excited about. How do Ladybird's struggles with self-identity and fitting in echo your own teenage experiences? We kind of already touched on this a little bit, but it'll allow us to go a little bit deeper.
Definitely the button heads with mom. That's incredibly relatable. But with that said, I mean, she was supportive. Again, there's no right way to parent.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, at the time, you're a teenager. You're angry.
Yeah.
You know, she did what she could, and I can definitely recognize that now. There's flaws there, but, and I'm not gonna lie, yeah, we got into screaming matches. Probably not a good thing.
Yeah.
But like at the end of the day, like I knew she would be there for me, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
We could have definitely stood to talk about our feelings a bit more, because I'll be honest, my mom does a thing where she does kind of get into moods like that where she will absolutely ignore the crap out of you.
And it's just
absolutely
she's going through something
like
herself.
she'll like if we would have arguments, like she would just straight up ignore me, and it's bad because I got into that habit as well. And now I'm like, I know that's not healthy. Like I wish we could have talked about feelings, but with that said, we've obviously since that point on, like, you know, it's gotten better. It's a whole learning experience, growing from that. But again, teenager, she's the only one dealing with me, I'm the only one dealing with her, you know.
I don't know if y'all remember, but was Julie or Lady Bird the lead in the plays that she was in? I don't remember.
I don't think so, because I think Julie was the one that was
Julie.
mainly the lead. So Lady Bird was already like kind of drifting away from that because she wasn't the lead. I think she made a comment about that he wrote a part specifically for her for something to do. Yeah,
because it made up role.
Speaking of Julie, that's another like such a good support system. But at the same time, you can see that Julie, she is fiercely independent as well. Just in a less intense way, I guess, than Lady Bird, because she's not afraid to like straight up tell Lady Bird, you've changed, like, you know, you are hanging out with these not so great people, you know, you've stopped coming to the plays,
practices,
you've basically ditched me as my friend, so you know. And just in the middle of lunch with everyone watching, like they are both just yelling at each other. But I think it's good to have a friend that can humble you as well. And Lady Bird, she definitely needed that.
She
that
needed
moment.
some humbling sometimes.
But Julie's like acutely aware, like I'm also not in the best financial situation compared to everyone else. I have to work to make sure my grades are good. I'm trying to get into no, I don't think she's going to college, right?
No, she was just gonna go to like Davis, which was a community college.
Yeah. And, you know, nothing wrong with that, but she's very aware
She knew
of,
what
like,
she wanted.
Exactly, just in a different way that Lady Bird did.
Yeah. Talking about her ex-boyfriend Danny, and then now Julie, I couldn't help but like see how, and we obviously the movie focuses on Christine, right, Lady Bird, but all these characters are like so complex, just as complex as Lady Bird, right? And then we have like Timothée Chalamet's character, who is like,
he's very privileged,
an anarchist, and you know, it's hard not to not like this guy. And then like one of the lines that he says, I haven't lied in 2 years, you know, when like they just finished having relations, right, him and Lady Bird. He's like, I haven't lied in 2 years, because Lady Bird's like, oh, we're not virgins anymore, and he's like, no, I never said that. And she's like, yeah, you said you were.
And he did earlier in the movie.
Yeah, and he did. And I guess really how a lot of these characters are very confident, like, and that does not resonate with me at all in high school. I mean, y'all know me now. How I am now is not how I was in high school. Like I'm not gonna say how I am now, but definitely not the same. I was very like in my head all the time, right? And so I guess it again reminds me of that review that you read, Ruby, that she was privileged, and I can see how having that type of self-assuredness, even though it's just her personality, how it can come across as being a privileged individual, already knowing what you want, already being able to be self-confident. That's not something that everybody has. And so I guess I can understand, how it can come across as privilege, how it can come across as like Timothy Chalamet's character, as you said, he was like he was privileged, definitely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I feel like he was very full of himself.
Yeah.
Like, just
Why do y'all think she went for Timothy Chalamet, other than that he looked cool, I guess?
Again, the rebel, she's trying to break free from, her family,
Yeah.
and her being into Kyle, Timothy Chalamet's character. It's part of that Ladybird persona, I think. Like, oh, this guy fits into the box that I'm trying to
Be in.
be in right now. And also, I mean, as a teenager, you see, again, different perspectives, but for Ladybird's perspective, oh, this cool guy, he's so
In a
smart,
band.
he's got cool hair, he's in a band, like,
He's in a band.
that's gonna make a lot of teenage girls swoon.
Right.
So
Yeah, definitely. I think when I read that privilege comment, and I was kind of like reviewing the movie in that kind of mindset, and I was like, okay, like the only reason why I can see that word privilege is because she's so in her head and doesn't have to worry about anything else but herself.
Yeah.
Like her mom was even like telling her straight up in her face, your dad lost his job, he's going through depression, do you not realize these things? Like you're so self-absorbed that you're not realizing like the struggles that your family is going through. So that's where I was like, oh yeah, she had that privilege where she was only able to just focus on herself. She didn't have to worry about losing the house, worry about
also too that because her brother is, I don't know if he was adopted or if the mom cheated on the husband, because he's like Hispanic,
and she makes that like racist,
and she makes a racist remark. That's another thing that Ladybird doesn't have to worry about. That she's white, she doesn't have to worry about racism and different things like that, whereas her brother does. And that just I love that you said that. I think that's a great point to make. Really good.
I just went through the like deep hole trying to find it, because it was such a good movie and I related so hardly to it, so I was just like reading everything good about it, about other people relating to it, and then I like deep dove into the negative ones, and I was like, oh, you know what, this makes sense. Because there was another one that I read where people were like, because white privilege, it was based in, where was it, Sacramento, California as well. So a lot of people also made the point that, hey, Greta Gerwig, there's a lot of Hispanics in that area. Like there wasn't that many in the movie. Could have just been the neighborhood that they were growing up in as well. But some people were like, oh, my coming of age movie was Real Women Have Curves with America Ferrera. That was more of the Hispanic upbringing and things like that. So that's where I was like, okay, I can kind of see where this can be seen like as a just your typical white kid upbringing of the movie. But I was like, why did I relate to so much to it? Because I'm not a white kid. I had that privilege that my because my older sister, she didn't have the same upbringing as me. I was the youngest, so I had that more stability in our family to be able to be more self-absorbed. I feel like my sister was not as self-absorbed. She had to almost be a third parent sometimes, that's where I was reading those comments of like Real Women Have Curves like related to me more, and I was like, you know what, that does make sense. And we will be back after these messages. Are you a fan of the arts like Ladybird? Check out Medici TV today with your library card. Medici TV has a rare and extensive selection of concerts, operas, ballets, documentaries, masterclasses, jazz, classical music, and more. Check it all out for free today. And now we're back.
Getting into our last question. So how does Ladybird address socioeconomic status in class, and how do these themes influence her decisions and understanding of the world? We've already answered this a couple of times. one of the scenes that left an impression on me was when she wants to read a magazine in her bed, right? And her mom says that's something that rich people do, and they aren't rich. And then also another thing that her mom says is that Lady Bird's room is a mess, and we don't treat clothes that way. We're not rich. And so Lady Bird is, inadvertently confronted with her poverty by her mom. And that's a flaw of the mom's doing. You need to, I feel like it would have been better presented, have a discussion like, hey, we're poor. We don't have a lot of money, but we have what we have, and we have each other. But her mom is constantly, we're not rich. We're not rich. We're not rich. And so of course she's gonna rebel and not want to be seen as poor, because look what you're presenting to your daughter.
You're making it seem like a bad thing.
Yeah.
Being
Exactly.
poor is not a bad thing.
Yeah, exactly.
One scene though where she does seem to kind of like be like, okay, I'm okay with where we're at. The Christmas scene where they're all unwrapping stuff and she gets socks and her mom's like, sorry, this is kind of a low ball Christmas, but those socks, they wick away moisture. And Lady Bird's like, it's just thanks, Mom, I love them. And it's just like, okay, well, that's a sweet little moment.
Yeah,
because at that
definitely.
moment in that part, she's not thinking about how poor they are. Well, she might be thinking about how poor they are.
That's
but
probably
she's,
why she was so nice to her mom.
Yeah.
They all were, because her mom's a hard worker, probably doing doubles and things like that.
I think she was doing doubles, because there's
that's
one
right,
part where she's like, I don't have to do a double today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another point, and let me know if y'all caught this, when she's with her new friend, not Julie, the other one, the other girl,
Jenna.
Yeah, I don't even remember all these characters' names, and I've seen this movie countless times. So when they're in the pool, and Lady Bird's saying, I need to leave Sacramento, and Jenna's like, why? I have everything you want is here. I want to get married, I want to have kids, and all that type of stuff.
I want them to go to school here.
Yeah, I want them to go to school here. Versus Lady Bird, she's lying, and Jenna doesn't know she's lying. That's why she wants to leave Sacramento, because she wants something more than Sacramento. She wants New York. Whereas Jenna lives a comfortable life. We don't know her struggles, but she lives a fairly comfortable life where she's able to say, I wanna stay here. This is cool.
Yeah. And then like coming from Lady Bird's point of view, like she's not in her mind not already living a comfortable life. So she's like, I don't want to keep living this life, I want something more. I think I have that potential to become something greater than her parents. And then when her mom even makes that comment, like, you think you're gonna be better than us, or like something along those lines.
Yeah.
Like, you think you're gonna be able to find a job that's gonna pay you that much.
Yeah.
And
she's just like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
And those insecurities take root, because going back to that dressing room scene, she's like, her mom tells her, I want you to be the best version of you. And Lady Bird's like, what if this is the best version of me?
Yeah.
Like, all of that stuff that her mom tells her throughout the movie, it takes root.
So getting towards the end of the movie already, it culminates to Lady Bird leaving Sacramento, going to school in New York. She gets drunk one night. She gets very sick. She goes to the hospital. She wakes up and she leaves, and she goes to a church. I wanted to get y'all's thoughts as to why she would go to a church. What do y'all think?
I thought because it kind of reminded her of home.
Exactly.
And like, so she's kind of lost. Like, because like I said, this movie is my life. I've been there. I moved away from home, was living by myself, and thought I didn't want the way I was brought up. I thought I didn't want to be that way anymore, But then you're trying to find yourself. And then it seems overwhelming. So then you kind of just go to the one place that you've been your whole life. That
Exactly.
even though at the time it wasn't your comfort, it's your comfort.
It's her comfort. That's exactly what it is.
Because it makes you think of home.
Because she's alone in that moment. She has no one to go to.
Yeah. So that, like, I saw myself going to the church on campus and just being like, I don't know anyone here, but I know of this place. I know it's comfortable for me.
That's a good point. I like that.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, and then she leaves and she calls her mom. She leaves this heartfelt message. Have y'all ever, I guess, when, you reached a certain age, do y'all remember coming to that realization, like, man, my parents tried their best. like my parents, or not even your parents, but your siblings, you know, any influential person in your life. You know, did you ever have a moment like that Lady Bird has at the end of the movie?
I feel like every day
Yeah.
I look back and think on it. Like, I'm just like, man, my
Yeah.
parents worked so hard. And then I just go trickle down. I'm like, my sister worked so hard. She was like a third parent to me. You know,
Yeah.
she had to spend her own money to buy me things and help take care for me. So like, I always look back on my life every single day and just try to appreciate, you know, what I have, and try to let those people know too, you know, I appreciate you, I appreciate everything you've done for me. Like Lady Bird's mom, like I don't do it in word of mouth. Like, well, my way is like birthday cards. I'll write a really heartfelt message in a birthday card or in a letter. You know, I'm like, this is what you mean to me. I can't say it in words, but just know that that's how I feel every day, you know?
Same, like with my mom, it was pretty much just me and her. Like, you know, like we're the only family we had growing up. And my mom, she would bust her butt working. Like, I can honestly say that even though obviously we were not rich, we were pretty poor. But with that said, I never felt in danger of never having food, of never having shelter. And that's just a testament to how hard she was working the entire time and, you know, still caring for me. So, like, of course, now I'm like, she grinded and she did what she could with me. Like, she did her absolute best. So, like, now that, you know, I kind of like what you do, but instead of like with writing and stuff, I try to be pretty good gift giving wise.
That's
you
your
know,
love language.
kind of with my mom and now my aunt, because now my aunt lives with us. But just to be like, you know, thanks. I think you did all right. I have a question for y'all. If y'all could give yourself a name like Lady Bird, do y'all know what it would be?
Yeah, mine will be B-Man. I mean,
that's your nickname already. So
nobody calls me B-Man.
Well, that's the name he gave himself. That he
That's
wants
true.
Other people to call him.
Exactly.
You're right.
You're
You're right. I'm
right.
wrong.
But again, I'm just not gonna go out and be like, nah, call me B-Man.
I'm not Israel. I'm B-Man.
Yeah, but that comes from my madrina used to call me Baby B, and that just, you know, I grew up.
You're not Baby B anymore. You're B-Man.
What about y'all? What's a nickname y'all would give yourselves, or just another name?
I don't know. I really don't. Because like Lady Bird, she just seemed to have that ready.
Yeah.
You know.
Like, where did that come from?
Where did it come from?
Lady and bird.
Like, I guess there's a sense of maturity to that because it has the word lady in it, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and then she's free like a bird, so Lady Bird.
Makes sense.
So that's going to be the end of our discussion about Lady Bird. Once again, available on Kanopy. Please feel free to send us your thoughts, any comments. If you've seen the movie, we would absolutely love to hear them. bibliotechonair@gmail.com. Again, it's a great movie, and it's only like an hour and a half long, so there's definitely time to fit it in at some point. But with that said, thank you guys for joining us, and we hope to do another review like this because I had fun.
Yeah.
So with that said, I'm Rosanna.
I'm Ruby.
And I'm Israel.
We'll catch y'all on the next episode.